यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ओम ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Shri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family members and your friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 12, verse number 1. Arjuna Uvacha Yevam Satata Yukta Ye Bhakta Swam Paryupasate Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha. We have begun this 12th chapter from last session itself. The name of this chapter is known as Bhakti Yoga. Now Bhakti means what? Bhakti can be classified as a tool, as an instrument for moksha, or to have a proper Ishvara Darshanam. There must be goal for bhakti. It is said that bhakti is a sadhana, but we are not finding any word in the Vedas. There is no word regarding bhakti. That word is not used in this sense, but we get from Puranas. Bhagavan also uses here. Now we have to learn what exactly bhakti is. Now we got the clarification. Bhakti is an instrument to get liberation. That is one clarification. Now in that, bhakti is a process. Bhakti is a sadhana. Then what exactly the definition of bhakti can be? Bhagavan Narada said, we saw in the last session itself. He says in Narada Bhakti Sutra, Satvasmin Paraprema Rupa. Bhakti means absolute pure love towards God. And also he gives one more meaning, Amarta Rupa Chah. And also which is experienced as the nectar. The benefit of bhakti also is explained by Narada Maharishi. Yellabdhva puman siddho bhavati amrto bhavati triptho bhavati yat prapya nakinchit shochayati. So these are all known as benefit of bhakti if you have the bhakti. Because bhakti is not born with us. When we were born, there were so many emotions were inbuilt. Fear comes automatically. Anger comes automatically. Insecurity comes automatically. Jealousy also comes automatically. We need not to generate them, but bhakti is to be generated. If we want to understand about this bhakti, there are two ways. The first way is to learning about bhaktas, who are the devotees of Lord. We are not lacking of bhaktas because India is full of bhaktas alone. India is the country where you can find great devotees. In all the places, if you go to north, east or south, you can come to know many more great devotees. If you begin with Andhra, so there are Tyagaraja Parabrahma, then Annamacharya, then if you travel, all around, Purantara Dasa, Surdasa, Namadeva, Jayadeva, Jnaneshwara, Sant Tukharam, Kora Kumbar. So many Nammalvar and they are highly devoted people. All the Alvars and Nayanmars. The India is full of devotees. The land of devotion is India. But we are lagging now. Bhakti means what? We have to have the clarification. Studying about a bhakta, you can also develop bhakti in you. Therefore, Sri Bhakta Vijayam, Bhagavatam, Vishnu Purana, all these Puranas and this Bhagavatam etc., these bhakti based text will help us to seek bhakti. The word bhakti is not a word, it's a technical term, I tell you. Technical terms means that which deals only with formulas, not with a particular object. Normal name denotes about a particular object, that's all. But formula means it has got so many factors into it. Now the approachment of Bhagavan Krishna is unique. He says there are two ways of learning about bhakti. One is learning about the bhaktas and another is directly learning the infrastructure of bhakti. So both approaches have been done by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Because in the previous chapters, Bhagavan talks about bhakti and bhaktas. Both kind of definitions are given by Bhagavan. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritirorjuna artho artharthi jignasu jnani cha bharata. So when he gives the definition of bhaktas, he says, Krishna clarifies there are four kinds of bhaktas are there. Artha bhaktas, artharthi bhaktas, jignasu bhaktas, jnani bhaktas. And in many places Krishna talks about Ananya Bhakti. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So bhakti is a great thing to have one's life. Bhakti is the medicine. Mahaushadham. That too in Kali Yuga, the bhakti alone will help us to cross the samsara sagara. And what is the difference between bhakti and jnana? Because jnani seems to be very dry people, bhakta seems to be very emotional people. How to understand? No, without knowledge there is no bhakti. Without bhakti there cannot be the knowledge. If anybody is classified as a jnani, he has to be a great bhakta like Hanuman, who was a great Lord Rama's bhakta. He was even said to be Navavyakarana Panditaha, great scholar. If you want to learn about bhakti, you have to prepare yourself. You have to bring a proper attitude. You should start respecting the text which deals about bhakti. You have to read Sri Bhakta Vijayam. You have to learn thoroughly Sri Bhagavatam. Because they are filled with bhakti. Bhakti is a main tool for moksha. Bhakti comes only when you are completely informed and become matured. The chapter which is known as Bhakti Yoga in Bhagavad Gita, it talks about entire aspects of bhakti. It is not specifying only the history based bhakti. When you learn Sri Bhakta Vijayam, you learn so many histories of devotees. Every devotee had so many incidents in their lifetime. Through those incidents, so whatever the response they had given, it proved their bhakti, how the density of bhakti they had. You can learn, you should learn it. At the same time, you have to know the infrastructure of the bhakti directly. Because Krishna approaches in different way. Narada gives a complete clarification of bhakti as the pure love. The pure love must be found. If a person who is not able to experience the pure love, he cannot set the bhakti, then for him, how can this bhakti be brought into? Is there any way? How can we set the bhakti? How can we generate the bhakti? As I told you, bhakti is not born with us. but bhakti relates with our real nature. When you are informed about yourself completely, automatically the love is found in you. That's what the approach of Lord Krishna. Now, learning bhakti is a great effort in one's life. For Arjuna, after having the great Vishwarupa Darshana, what there should be is bhakti. Still, he is having the questions. The first words, which is in the form of question from Arjuna regarding bhaktas, because he still analyzes about bhakti and bhaktas. Before entering into these words, let us have a bird eye view of this bhakti yoga. Bhagavan Krishna says bhakti can be classified in three aspects. Note it carefully. Karma based bhakti, upasana based bhakti, knowledge oriented bhakti. Karma based bhakti means there are so many activities are seen in the name of bhakti. A person who works on the fire, person who carries the fire in the pot, the person goes on foot for a pilgrim, a person who does the parayana, a person who always having meditation, the person who performs all kinds of yajna yagas, all these activities are called bhakti activities. That person who performs all of this known as bhaktaha alone. When you wear mala for Sabarimala, you are considered as a bhaktaha. Now the activity specifies are you bhaktaha or not. Therefore Bhagavan, he clarifies from the bottom level of our normal life. Bhagavan Krishna is very thorough. Whatever the subject he takes to explain, he explains 100% completely. That's what the glory of Bhagavan. Therefore, he is Bhagavan. He begins the explanation of bhakti from the bottom level, from karma level. Only he says there are three kinds of aspects of bhakti. If you understand these three aspects, then you will found bhakti in you. First level, karma based. So there are so many karmas. Whatever the karmas, as I pointed out now, you can just take, they are bhaktis. And those karmas must be prescribed by Vedas or Agamas or the text which are the part of Vedas or essence of Vedas. Then that karma has to be governed by dharma. This is the condition. Now there are three aspects of bhakti. Bhagavan divides these three aspects into 5 steps. That's the glory. You should not forget, we are just having an aerial eye view of the 12th chapter. Don't miss it. Now there are 3 kinds of aspects which also have been divided into 5 steps. Okay. How he has divided? The karma based bhakti is being divided into 2 portions. Okay. Then the upasana based bhakti also divided into 2 portions. Knowledge based bhakti, it remains as 1 portion. Now there are 5 steps. Let us see what are those 5 steps are. The first step is known as karma yoga. Karma based bhakti. Karma yoga means what? People who have prayer towards Lord for their benefit. It's a first level. Now this is also called bhakti. You go to the temples, if you are able to listen to those prayers, you will be amazed. Sometimes you are shocked. That's what I mentioned in the last session itself. There is no rules and regulations. Nobody comes and asks you. You have to write what you are going to ask in front of the deity. We have to check it. Then we will suggest you or permit you. Is there any system over here? No. You are free to ask anything you want to ask from the Lord. But you have to be careful what you ask. Whatever you ask, it should not be against dharma. That is one condition to be a first level devotee. Then the second condition, whatever you ask. Okay, when you are getting those objects, you should consider them as a prasada, Ishvara prasada. Ishvara prasada bhavana is the first condition for this level. It's very important. You understand, this person doesn't want to have moksha. He is not craving for even to serve to the humanity. He just works for him. He just wants to have a normal, happy life with his own family. He is endowed with selfishness. His prayer also endowed with selfishness, but it can be also bhakti. It's known as sakama bhakti. If he is able to set a proper bhavana, means prasada bhavana, that person is known as sakama karma yogi or sakama bhaktaha. This is the first varieties of people. And after certain period of time, whatever he asks, when he gets everything, his mind becomes mature, then he will start thinking about others. His mind will get expanded with the satisfaction. When he gets everything what he asks, then the mind will get that vikasa expanded. Then selfishness will be reduced and welfare, thinking for others' welfare will be increased. That is the glory of this karma yoga, because he considers everything is Ishvara prasadam. Therefore, people also name to their children as a Shiva Prasad, Krishna Prasad, Rama Prasad. So this, the attitude, prasada buddhi, is the beginning level, which was specified in the form of Loka Sangraha in the 3rd chapter. By imparting Yajna Bhavana with the karma. Yajna Bhavana means the bhavana of sacrificing the things. And having prasada buddhi, he can grow to be a next level bhakta who is called Nishkama Bhakta. Nishkama Karma Yogi. That is the second level. This second level bhakti, in which we won't find selfishness. He will pray for others. Nishkama Karma. He will work for work. He won't crave from the God. He is completely satisfied. He will work, with satisfaction. And this person is known as Nishkama Karma Yogi, which was introduced and explained in the 4th chapter, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Bhagavan Krishna is very intelligent. These 2 steps have been given in the Prathama Shatka. Then the 3rd step, which falls on the 2nd aspects, Upasana. Upasana means what? Meditation. The bhakti which is in the form of meditation. In the 1st Shatkam, the bhakti which is in the form of karma was explained in the 1st Shatka. The 2nd Shatka from chapter 7 to 12 is explained the 2nd aspects of bhakti upasana marga. Upasana means, as I told you, meditation. Meditation also is a bhakti. Karma is also bhakti. Now meditation means there are 2 kinds of meditations. Upasana means, see why it is called upasana. Upasana means what? Saguna Brahma, Nirguna Brahma, Manasika Vyaparaha. Mental transaction. Karma is a physical transaction. Okay? So when you learn about yourself, this 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, first 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita deals with only with individual self. There karma topic comes. There you have to work on the karma with the proper attitude to get elevated, to become as a upasana bhakta. So you have to be very careful, because I am giving an eye-bird view of bhakti yoga. If you miss this part, you cannot understand Krishna's teaching. So Krishna gives a proper infrastructures. I repeat again, there are 3 kinds of aspects of bhakti which have been classified in the bhakti yoga. first bhakti is karma based, which was explained in the first 6 chapter by Bhagavan Krishna, especially chapter number 3 and 4, they deal with it. And upasana means like bhakti, which is in the form of meditation. That meditation on what? Ishvaraha. Ishvaraha with form, nama sahita, nama rupa sahita upasana, known as Saguna Brahma Upasana, Saguna Rupa Upasana. Worshipping Lord, mentally worshipping the Lord with the form is known as Saguna Rupa Bhakti. So once you are able to focus yourself in a particular form, then you can expand yourself to worship God in all the forms. That is known as Nirguna Bhakti. All the form means beyond the form. It's known as Aneka Rupa Bhakti. So this is the 2 kinds of Upasana Bhakti. Upasana means completely, it's known as meditation, Manasika Vyapara. And these people are considered more serious than the Karma Yogis. Because these people are, in order to become a Upasaka, you have to be completely detached with the world. Because karma is dealing with the world. For Upasaka, he is not attracted by outside world. He has completely got vairagya. He has become completely matured. No worldly object can distract him or attract him. That is the condition of the glory of Upasaka. Then finally, it is known as Arupa Bhakti, knowledge based Bhakti. Now we have completed the 5 steps. The first step, which is known as Sakama Karma Yoga. The second step, which is known as Nishkama Karma Yoga. Third is known as Saguna Upasana Yoga. Then Nirguna Upasana Yoga. Finally, Arupa Bhakti. You can say Sakama Bhakti, Nishkama Bhakti, Saguna Bhakti, Nirguna Bhakti, Arupa Bhakti. These 5 steps have been classified by Bhagavan Krishna in this chapter. Swamiji, it looks very strange, Bhaktaha is a Bhaktaha. A devotee is a devotee. Why you clarify these 5 steps? No, my dear, you have to be very clear about this. Because Bhakti means all the activities are called Bhakti. Even meditations are called Bhakti. You should know Arupa Bhakti will bring moksha. And Swarupa Bhakti, finally, it is said Swarupa Bhakti. So that Arupa Bhakti is because of Swarupa Bhakti. That we will define later. Now Bhakti means there are 5 steps. Those 5 steps are from 3 aspects of Bhakti. See, now if you see somebody who is working on the fire for a prayer, with a prayer, then you can classify them into the first level of Bhakti. But a person does the same thing, but not for the selfishness, for entire humanity, you can just take him to the second level Bhakti. This is how it is classified. But there's all great bhaktas have I mentioned. All those bhaktas, these are all words and 9 words. They are great bhaktas like Saguna, Nirguna, Arupa bhaktas. We will just learn slowly, gradually, with a firmness, with a clarity, along with Krishna's teaching. Now we will read the shloka. Arjuna uvacha yevam satata yukta ye bhaktas tvam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Now we have to understand the doubt of Arjuna belongs to which steps. Now Arjuna doesn't have doubt regarding the karma part. He knows upasana part is the superior than the karma part. Therefore, he doesn't have the question regarding this karma part. Now he is asking about upasana part. That too, upasana means a high level upasana, which is known as nirguna upasana and saguna upasana. In the upasana also, there are two kinds of upasanas which we have revealed: saguna upasana, nirguna upasana. In the saguna upasana, we call it ekarupa upasana, anekarupa upasana. Now Arjuna he reveals in the last chapter, you said, in the last verse, you said a devotee who should worship, how they should worship, all the conditions were explained by you. If somebody worships according to that conditions, then the people who worship without form, means next level, he himself asking for the next level, arupa upasana, who are going to be supreme. Okay, who nirguna upasana, not arupa upasana, nirguna upasana, who are going to be supreme. Now he is comparing with two upasana people, saguna brahma upasana, nirguna brahma upasana. See, this saguna bhakti, nirguna bhakti, which is the supreme bhakti, that's what the essence of Arjuna's question. Unless until you are not aware about the complete picture of Bhagavad Gita's 12th chapter, you cannot understand these words. He is asking the question between two people, the Saguna Brahma, Nirguna Brahma Upasana people, who are the superior people. Now, finally the essence, as I told you, which bhakti is supreme, Saguna Bhakti or Nirguna Bhakti? That was the question. But Bhagavan, it's an advanced question, you know. Now this Arjuna has become advanced student because 11th chapter have been completed and he also had Vishwarupa Darshanam itself. Therefore he is asking in that way. Bhagavan gives the answer. Let us read it. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayo Petaha Te me yukta tamamata. So Bhagavan gives answer in different way. Whoever have Shraddha, they are supreme. Whoever has Shraddha in the Upasana, they are supreme alone. It's a general answer. He himself will specify the answer very clearly. That we will continue from the next session tomorrow. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.